All right, at 5:32, we'll call the meeting to order, and I have asked Macy DeVera, I wrote it down terribly wrong, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm so sorry.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Macy. And I do apologize again, I just having trouble with last names. People test. All right, so we will start tonight's meeting. Thank you to everyone who's here. We appreciate it, and anybody who's online as well. We will start with Student Spotlight. Before we start with Miss St. Hilaire, Mr. Connors is not here in attendance tonight, so I'll take a motion to excuse him.
I'm going to make a motion to excuse Mike Connors.
Okay, Dr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Mr. Getter?
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, and Brittany Gledhill?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. We got through the first part. We will turn it over to Miss St. Hilaire.
Yeah, good evening. It's my pleasure tonight to be inviting some of our amazing students here in Kennewick to share about their experiences. So, typically in October we'll do a report on highly capable. But in your board packet you received information that we would have done in a board report. And tonight we wanted to highlight our students in different highly capable services. So we've invited parents, students, I see some teachers, some principals, and different support staff that make this happen. I'm going to invite Brittany Mercer up here. She is our Assistant Director of Learning Supports and Program who helps oversee our highly capable services. And she's going to invite students to the podium to share a little bit.
So we are really excited to have our students come and meet with you today. We have invited 4 students who have participated in highly capable services currently and in previous years as well. We will invite them up. We've asked them to talk about a few things briefly, to either share something that, actually let me step back. Let me recognize our teachers that are here. I want to introduce Kathy Kern. She's our highly capable specialist for the district, and she coordinated all of our students getting them here tonight. Then we have teachers from Westgate. Mrs. Cook is here along with the principal, Mr. Kern. And then from Vista Elementary, we have the COG team here. So our teachers, Mrs. Samples, Mrs. Estes, and Mrs. Devine, along with their principal, Mrs. Behrens. And then our middle school and high school principals weren't able to join us this evening, but we have their students representing the highly capable services. So I apologize, but now we asked the students to share a couple of things. Being something that they like most about being either in the cluster classroom, the CLOG program, or the other services that they've participated in. A challenge that they've encountered in one of those programs and how they've overcome it. How their teachers have helped them to learn and grow, or just one of the biggest things that they've learned participating in our highly capable services within the district. Or if they were new. So I'm going to ask that we're going to start with our COG student, Connor. He's a 5th grader at Vista Elementary. He spent 1 year in a cluster classroom before going to COG at Vista, and this is his 3rd year in COG.
Hello, my name is Connor Crotty, and I've been in COG since I was in 3rd grade. The thing I love most about COG is the friends that you make. We're all together through all of COG, so you all get to know each other really well. COG allows kids to stay with their peer group while taking harder classes, so we don't have to be the odd ones out and to be with the older kids. COG challenges me in a lot of ways. I find learning new math tricks and hacks really rewarding. I also really like the projects we do. We do research projects, book projects, and science fair projects. I learn about art history, the scientific method, and have read and analyzed classic literature. It's a lot of hard work, but projects really make you feel like you've achieved something. I think COG teachers really push students to their highest potential. They teach us new things and take us on field trips. We even get to go on an overnight field trip. Our teachers support us by encouraging our special learning interests and encourage discussion through Socratic seminars and debates. We also get to do extra things that take a lot of teacher support, like Wacky Wednesdays, where we do fun things like card games or crochet. And we do a musical performance every year. The biggest benefit I've gained from COG is being academically challenged. When school is boring, you lose motivation, but COG makes you really push yourself. We've had scientists, engineers, and other professionals encourage us to challenge ourselves and to solve the problems we see in our world. COG makes me feel proud of myself, and it makes me believe I can make a difference.
Thank you, Connor. Our next student that I'm going to ask to come up is Mubashir. Mubashir is a 4th grader at Westgate Elementary. He is in a cluster classroom, and this is his 2nd year in a cluster classroom setting.
In my school, Westgate, we have no bullies and everyone's safe. We all imagine things that we can imagine. My teacher challenged me hard so much that she and others challenged me the most. And my favorite thing about Westgate is that you don't have to be bullied because there's no bullies. And the growth I had was high. It grew so much, and I had to go to the best classrooms because I grow too much. And once my favorite memory from the cluster classroom is when I get to do fun stuff while getting educated hard. And I love that the most. Also, when I first came in a cluster classroom, they were amazed that I grew so much.
Our 3rd student is Olive. She is currently an 8th grader at Chinook Middle School. She has been an active participant in Destination Imagination, and she has represented our district at nationals 2 times, which is a great honor. So, Olive.
I'm Olive, and I'm 14 years old. And DI is definitely my favorite extracurricular activity that I've ever done because you learn how to work with people and how to work as a team. And you think way outside of the box. Creativity, it basically gets rid of the box at this point. And then you learn how to work through difficult problems as a team. And like overall, DI really helped expand my creativity and show me that you can do anything if you work hard. My favorite memory is from DI is our 2nd year at nationals. We had seen on the big screen that we got 9th place for our category, and then we were called onto the stage to get a Renaissance Award for our creative backdrops and our innovation throughout our fairy tale that we had. And it was really cool because we got to go across the stage and we got a really cool the Renaissance Award, which is just a triangular medal. And anyways, it was really cool because of all our hard work throughout the year had paid off, and we'd been through so much problems, and it was really hard to get there, but we did, and it was really worth it. And DI is awesome.
And finally, we're going to hear from Macy. She is a 9th grader at Kennewick High School. She is currently taking 4 honors classes and is already planning to participate in the International Baccalaureate program.
So, I'm Macy. Thank you for this opportunity. Through honors courses, I've definitely been challenged to comprehend new concepts. I started HiCap classes in 3rd grade, and since then, they've definitely benefited my math experience and gave me a foundation as I transitioned into 7th grade math when I entered middle school. I likely would not have made it into algebra as a 7th grader if I had not taken HiCap and progressed through the curriculum, as it introduced the basic concepts of integers, basic geometry, etc., which made 7th grade math a review and elaboration rather than a completely new lesson. By the time I was in 8th grade, I started taking geometry at Southridge High School with a combination of 8th graders from both my middle school, Chinook, and Horseheaven Hills Middle School. I'm not going to deny math was difficult all through middle school, but that level of difficulty of needing to understand the concepts that I learned rather than just accepting them for what they are has definitely benefited me and helped me grow as a student. And shout out to Mrs. Kern. Thank you. You're a great teacher. I wouldn't have been here without you. I don't have one specific favorite memory from HiCap, but I definitely enjoyed the days we worked as a class to get through digital escape rooms. It was fun to just move around and socialize. And I also enjoyed the days where the lesson was easy to comprehend. I remember working through the shapes unit, and as we worked through the bare basics of geometry, I picked up on the material very quickly. And I still feel a hint of pride that I felt as a 5th grader looking back on this now. Okay. One thing that makes school really enjoyable for me is when I have a teacher that finds a balance of challenging my mind and supporting my growth. The best experiences I've had with teachers are the ones that ask questions that require you to think and not just ones where you can pull an answer verbatim from the text. Through asking questions such as these, just a moment. Through having to answer these kind of questions, I've become an analytical thinker and I give more attention to detail, which has helped my success in starting high school, especially with the honors classes. And they allow me to work hard, but also too, I really like it when the teacher is supportive and they allow you to ask questions. I am big on asking questions, so when I know I can go up to a teacher and not feel like I'm being judged or they're irritated for when this is like the 5th question I've asked about the same assignment. That definitely helps me feel more confident in both my work and myself. And by taking honors courses, I've grown as a student, a thinker, a leader, and a person. It's this growth, inspired in HiCap and developed from then on, that has made honors courses, however difficult, frustrating, or irrelevant that they may seem in the moment, to have been worth it for me. Thank you.
Our COG program gave me an invitation. They'd like to invite you to a family night. So I'm going to give those to Diego to pass down. So we're going to keep moving along, but I just kind of want to wrap up that these were all great examples of how in Kennewick we're working to really get our students ready for success in post-secondary education, work, and life, and really practice those skills in the Kennewick learner profile that we have. So thank you families, thank you students for coming tonight. We're also going to look at another program.
We want to pause now if anybody wants to.
Yeah.
Thank you. Students, that was fantastic. Thank you guys so much. And everyone, of course, is welcome to stay, but I know if you have other things.
We've got a few more students we're going to highlight.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to keep us moving. We do have our career and technical education program as well. And we're gonna talk a little bit about our career and technical education program. You have some overview information in your packet, but again, I think we really want to see how that's being lived with our students. So I'm going to invite Abby Matson, our Director of Career and College Readiness, here to talk about our students.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us. We're really excited to share some of the opportunities we have available for students in CTE. We could be here all night and share many, many different opportunities, but we have 4 students from 3 different high schools that have 4 different experiences through their CTE classes that have helped develop their leadership skills and help prepare prepare them for post-secondary. So they're each going to share a little bit about what that's looked like for them. So first up, I just want to invite Jeffrey. Jeffrey's from Kennewick High School.
Hello. Okay, so my name's Jeffrey. I'm a senior at Kennewick High School, and I'm a representative tonight of the Kennewick High School Computer Science and Robotics programs, as well as engineering. So when I began high school, I transferred into Kennewick School District from Richland School District for the IB program, and I immediately started getting to work on just trying to learn as much as possible about the community at Kennewick High School and throughout the district. I'd gone to Desert Hills for a year in middle school, so I knew that I liked the community in Kennewick School District, but I didn't have any clue as to how much the community within CTE specifically would affect me. I began as a freshman in a computer science introductory course. I had never had any sort of experience in computer science before, and I immediately fell in love with it. I remember speaking my freshman year to Mr. Erkes, a computer science teacher there, and he told me that what I put into myself through that avenue would be what I got out of it. So I began putting in all the work that I could into the program, just trying to learn as much as possible because there's truly infinite possibilities through the CTE programs at Kennewick High School, specifically robotics and computer science. So that freshman year, I spent every day after school learning equipment, learning how to 3D model, CAD, design, 3D printing and manufacturing. And it kind of opened up an avenue that I never knew that I wanted to go into. I think in middle school, I always kind of wanted to go into writing and be an English major. But after discovering that, I think I'm all in on engineering right now and mechanical engineering as well as business. Sophomore year, we began our robotics program, which is the thing that I think I'm most proud of being a participant in. We went from, absolutely zero robotics knowledge, went into the season. We came out as world finalists. So we went to the world finals in Houston, Texas. So that was just an incredible experience for me to be able to go there. And I kind of taught, it was kind of a reward for myself knowing that all the work that I've been putting into the program was paying off. And it could actually bring me places. So that just kind of encouraged me to work even harder at it. And we have a great team. We have a great team within all of our robotics classes, our computer science classes, and especially our tech club / robotics program within, our CTE environment. We also interact with a lot of the other CTE at Kennewick High School in particular, which is great. We interact heavily with, the machine shop people, and we get to kind of grow together in an environment that's collaborative that has meant so much to me. Last year, I took those skills that I had learned in the program that I started learning through a computer science class in robotics, and I entered an application that I wrote in a national competition, the Congressional App Challenge. I was a finalist for Eastern Washington, and I was invited out to visit, Washington, D.C. and visit the congressional building there and meet with a bunch of congressmen. So that was just another huge encouragement to me in the path that I'm on. I don't think that any of what I've been doing would have been possible without the programs in Kennewick School District. I don't think it would have happened for me anywhere else. So I'm eternally grateful for the opportunities that you guys provide for us as students, and I'm just thankful for you guys' full support towards these programs.
Thank you.
Up next, I want to introduce Jasmine. Jasmine's from Kamiakin FFA program.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Connor. I want to apologize first. I'm kind of losing my voice. I'm a senior at Kamiakin High School. Over the last 4 years, I've taken probably 10 different CTE classes, but my passion is definitely FFA and the agriculture program that is at Kamiakin. When I started at Kamiakin as a freshman, I didn't know anything about agriculture. I couldn't even tell you how my food got to the grocery store. But I wanted to join shop class to learn a little bit more about what my dad did for work with welding and fabrication. I found my passion in the agriculture classroom. I learned not only how to weld, fabricate, use tools, etc. I also learned how to public speak, write an email, fill out a resume, be a leader, and talk to a stranger. The FFA organization and agriculture classes I took shaped me into who I am today. The important skills I've learned It has helped me become a well-rounded citizen. My best memories in high school have come from FFA, and it has shown me where my hard work can lead me if I apply myself. I got to attend the National FFA Convention because me and my team placed first my freshman year, and I've gone to state the last 3 years and hopefully this year. I would also like to mention the important things I've learned while taking sports medicine classes at Kamaikan. As you guys know, within the CTE classes, you get real world certifications like first aid and CPR. And by simply taking those classes, I was able to save someone's life by participating in class. Overall, I could not be the person I am today without the education and experiences I got from these classes I've taken, which has led me to pursue a degree in agriculture education so I can help grow the future generations of my community.
Next, I'd like to introduce Trayden from Kennewick High School.
Hello, my name is Trayden Lopez. I'm a senior at Kennewick High School, and I am also a Running Start student. I have been attending 3 different main CTC courses, differing between marketing classes, fashion marketing, marketing management, and all the other ones. If there's a marketing class, trust I'm taking it. And then also I have tested the waters with other TriTech CTC classes. Everything that I can try, I definitely would like to. And this has all led me to DECA. I've always had very positive experiences with these CTC courses, especially with the marketing classes at Kennewick High School. Through these classes, I developed an interest and passion in the world of business, and with a little push from our teacher and advisor, Ms. Cholera, I joined DECA. It was a very hard step, especially going as a freshman, coming from Chinook to Kennewick, knowing absolutely no one. So just applying myself to all these different clubs and communities definitely helped me gain a sense of self. And through my experience with DECA, I quickly realized that DECA's missions have aligned with my personal goals and where I see myself in the future. Having advantageous ideals, I knew I always wanted to expand my own personal network of connections and meet as many new people inside and outside of Washington as I'm capable. Additionally, through DECA, I've had the opportunity to learn the inner workings and what it really means to be a part of the business world and community. Through my first year at DECA, I was graciously offered the opportunity to attend DECA Nationals. This helped me connect with people all across the United States, meeting so many different people all over the United States who all have a passion for DECA and marketing as well. Having this opportunity allowed me not only to connect with students, but also with professionals in the business community. Hearing a lot of speeches and just having personal interactions with them that I otherwise wouldn't have had. Additionally, this all led me to elevate my own personal growth. From DECA, I learned that from this DECA Nationals trip, I learned that it's a lot more possible to grow not only myself, but how I see my perspective on the world and all the challenges that may arise through this 4-day life-changing event. Coming back from DECA Nationals, I continue to push my comfort zone, seeking additional ways to challenge myself and grow. This was definitely not easy, and among my dual credit classes as a Running Start student, I had a lot more struggles than I did successes. But this all led me to apply for Energy Northwest. This was a really hard decision to come by. Not only did I not initially pursue myself capable of being able to get this position, but through the feedback and support that Ms. Culver helped me provide, and also the connections of the district, having came here and speaking with our professional affairs colleagues, it was really nice to see the inner workings of this district. This all led me to smash my interview at Energy Northwest, get the job, and hopefully continue on this streak of greatness. Passing my next future steps are hopefully going to include passing my CBC midterms. They're this week. Wish me luck, guys. I'll need it. Competing in DECA competitions at the high school and college level. Being a running start student, I'm able to compete through my high school and also through CBC. So I'm going to be, again, double the experience and double the knowledge. Eventually, by the end of this year, I'm going to be graduating with my high school degree and also my associates. And this will just continue to push me to pursue my higher degree of education. That is all. Thank you, guys.
I do have to say, those internships are very, very hard to get. They are very competitive. So good job, Freya. They're very hard to get. Last up, I want to introduce Lily. Lily is actually a Southridge graduate, but has another interesting story to tell about her path.
Hi, my name is Lily Johansson. I graduated from Southridge High School in 2023, and I currently go to WSU Tri-Cities, and I'm highlighting the Teaching Academy courses in our high schools. Teaching Academy is a CTE class where the first semester focuses on being an introduction into how to teach, and then the second semester you get to work as an intern under the teachers at our local elementary schools. For me, Teaching Academy offered great insight into the instructional and curricular side of teaching. And then for the second semester, I got to intern under a first grade teacher at Sagecrest Elementary School, where I got to work hands-on with students for the first time. This course is really special because it helps connect our students all the way from high school to our elementary schools and provides an amazing experience to intern as a high schooler. And as I was finishing up my Teaching Academy course, a guest speaker came in from WSU Tri-Cities talking about a new program that was going to be collaborating with KSD called the Teaching Bridge program. This allowed you to work as a substitute paraeducator for 2 years while also working towards your teaching degree. So I was a substitute paraeducator for those 2 years while I completed the program, and I got to network and meet a lot of great people through our district and while working in a lot of elementary schools. And I'm happy to say I was one of KSD's first 4 students to graduate from this program, and I'm now finishing up my bachelor's in the 3rd and final program called Alternative Route. And so I work full-time at Southgate Elementary School as a autism tier 3 paraeducator, and then I do my WSU classes in the evening and online. And Teaching Academy set me and my peers up for success and allowed us to gain that critical experience before getting into our paraeducator jobs and our teaching jobs. And the Teaching Academy course not only supports our current KSD students, but it recirculates those students back into our district, but as teachers. And the Teaching Academy is producing a cycle of growth by investing into our students, our families, our schools, our district, and most of all, our community. Thank you.
Thank you, students, for being here. And also, just real quick, I want to introduce my team that's here. I have Stephanie Zerba here. She's a Teaching Academy teacher at Southridge High School. Amy Francis, our Assistant Director of Career and College Readiness. Debbie Smith, our Workforce Specialist, who oversees our interns, our out in the community. Josette Julio, our CTE Secretary. And then we also have our CTE. So making sure that we're also as have the skills. So thank you very much.
Students, thank you for joining. I think you did a much better presentation than I could have done, so I appreciate that. You did wonderful. So thank you for letting us showcase some of our students and the different programs that we have here in Kennewick.
Thank you. Thank you.
Again, I appreciate all the work that our staff does. It's a perfect example of how we're living the mission and vision of the Kennewick School District, and having our students tell the story as much, I feel greater value in seeing something being told for them. So I really appreciate the families and the parents for what they do on our staff.
Thank you. All right, we will move along to communication from parents, staff, and district residents. Any one online? No one online. I'm going to ask every time just to make sure. All right. The Kennewick School District Board of Directors appreciates hearing from the community. This time is reserved for the board to listen to comments, input, and information. Guidelines for addressing the board. You've signed in. The board president will call your name. Please come to the podium at the front. You'll have 2 minutes to address the board. A stoplight on the screen will let you know when to begin, when you have 1 minute remaining, and when your time is ended. Please note the board will not be able to respond to comments provided. As appropriate, the board may ask the superintendent to review any issues raised. The board does not take public comment on issues related to personnel or individually named staff members at board meetings. However, you can email the board with such comments. Thank you for being here. First up, we have Kim Fowler.
May I start?
Yes.
Okay. Hi. I played sports at KSD High School, and I competed at the collegiate level. I have one child that played multiple sports at KSD Middle and High Schools, and my other child is currently a professional athlete. None of us are afraid to compete with anyone that wants to play. Participating in school athletics offers improved physical and mental health, increased confidence, leadership skills, and lessons in teamwork. Title IX, WIAA, and the Women's Sports Foundation all include access to sports for transgender children. I need to be clear about a fundamental truth. Transgender girls are girls. Transgender boys are boys. If you deny that, you are denying those children their humanity. States that passed anti-transgender laws aimed at minors saw suicide attempts from transgender and gender nonconforming teenagers increase by as much as 72%. Our state superintendent has said that maybe 5 to 10 out of 250,000 of our high school athletes are maybe transgender. It's hard enough being a teenager, and yet you are proposing to label these children as other, and thus telling everyone that they don't belong. Trans kids play sports for the same reasons all kids do: to belong, to have fun, to be part of something, find friends, and challenge themselves. Supporting trans inclusion means supporting fairness for all students. Safety rules already protect all athletes. There is no data that shows trans athletes are a safety risk. Teaching teamwork and respect keeps sports safe, not exclusion. States with trans inclusion policies saw a rise in all girls playing sports compared to states that ban trans athletes. The KSD mission says it's there to provide a safe environment so that every student reaches their highest potential. So my question to you is this othering of transgender athletes really achieving that mission?
Thank you. Thank you, Kim. Next up, JoJo Davis.
Hi, my name is JoJo Davis, and not only am I a resident here in Kennewick, I also have the pleasure of working as a school counselor at Highlands Middle School. I'm coming to you for some answers for this topic that I've had for the last 3 years, and that is school counselors and funding. I've given each of you a copy of our LOA that we have with the district as well as the Kennewick Education Association, as well as a cover sheet that has my questions on it that we have as a middle school counseling group. Number one, funding. In the past, we've asked both district supervisors, Matt and now BJ, and got no answers. We've asked the school board, me personally, 3 times about the funding, no answers. I asked my friend Vic, no answers. And so I'm hoping that today, with our new leadership of Mr. Hansen, that we could get an answer to this question: where did the enhanced ESA funding go? I was told by Micah in an email that it's not a secret, it's public knowledge. But if he has to ask the question off the record about school counselors and funding, how are we as the public to know this answer? The board gets the budget every month, and still, Micah, you didn't know the answer. I wasn't accusing anyone, wasn't accusing you of keeping secrets. It just seems weird that after all these years, we still don't know the answer to how much did the state allocate KSD in enhanced funding and where did it go? The second point is staffing. The state did give enhanced funding and all 3 comprehensive high schools got a 5th counselor, even though there are middle schools with higher poverty rates than at these high schools. Middle school counselors continue to do much with what we have. I know data speaks volumes to this group, and so I brought you some data. Over the past 3 years, students at Highlands has taken a safety survey, and every year myself and Karina Pacino make the selection of trusted adults by over 47% of the student body. Yes, 47% of the student body says it's us, their school counselors, who is their trusted adult. Can you imagine just 2 of us, what we could do with a 3rd? We'd love to share the hearts of our students with a 3rd counselor. Finally, with the added responsibilities added onto our plates, the data shows we are living up to our end of the bargain with the time spent of 80% direct services and 20% indirect services, as well as fully participating in equitable shared roles. We are 100% on board with our part. Now we just ask the board to do their part and get us the answers to the questions provided. How much and where did the enhanced funding go? And will we see the 3rd counselor added as it was set as a goal for the district 2 years ago? Thank you.
Thank you, JoJo. Hanson, I'll follow up on the question.
JoJo will talk. Thank you, JoJo.
All right. That's all we have for communication from parents, staff, and district residents. So we'll move on to board member and student representative reports. So we'll start with Diego.
There we go. Is this on?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Good evening, members of the board and Mr. Hanson. My report is not going to be as well written and as artistically professional, I guess you could say, as our students earlier tonight. But I'm happy to report that a week and a half ago, I attended the CASH conference at WSU Pullman. So CASH stands for Children of Aslan Sharing Higher Education. It's a student leadership conference that brings high school students from all across Washington to WSU Pullman. It centers on higher ed, cultural identity, and community. And so district staffs, especially support staff, were the ones who made that invitation to students. I made some calls earlier. Total attendance at the conference was 178 students from across the state, which is the largest they've had since 2015. We had about 30 of those were KSD students, so about 9 from Kamaikan, 14 from Southridge. Kennewick had approximately 5, and Phoenix had a couple in there as well. I also do want to highlight a Kamaikan student, Diego Martinez, a Kamaikan High School senior, who was awarded a $1,000 scholarship to WSU Pullman by the Bimbo Group, which is a Mexican multinational food company, and it's a very much staple in the Mexican household. So congratulations to Diego Martinez. And I also am hoping to get to Kamaikan in the next week or so to ask some questions about nutritional services and safety, which I mentioned in the past. And then I'm just looking forward to another conference that starts this Friday in Vancouver, specifically in Clark College here in the state of Washington. And so expect to hear more about my conference attendance there in 3 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, Diego. I will jump to Miss Gledhill real quick, see if she has anything, since she's on the phone.
I don't have anything to report for the last few weeks.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, Dr. Miller.
Yeah, no, first of all, I'd like to say, I know most of the parents and students that were here earlier have left, but those teachers and those parents and students that are here, thank you for all you're doing. Teachers, parents, it is a massive undertaking to help your children succeed. And those kids did a wonderful job, and I think they're excellent representation of what's going on in the district with our highly capable students and our students that are really looking to excel. I'm excited to see what those kids do in the future. Makes me very optimistic. One of the things I would love to see is these programs expanded even more, where we capture more of our exceptional kids and help them really develop. Yeah, it's exciting. It's an area I feel very strongly about and I'm passionate about, is helping these kids really really achieve some exceptional things. And thank you, teachers, for all that you're doing and your work and your efforts with them. Some of my comments, we'll obviously be talking about a resolution a little bit later. We'll talk about that. Over the past 2 weeks, I'll be honest, I was out of town for most of it. I was celebrating my 20th anniversary, which was great, but that occupied most of my time. But yeah, that's about it.
Great. Thank you, sir. Mr. Valentine.
Thank you. I will say Josh really does deeply care about the education, specifically. I mean, he cares about education for everybody, but one thing that I always liked about Josh, or been impressed about Josh, is that he really cares about the higher education, just like all the presentations tonight. So I know that was like right up his alley. He loves that stuff. So I hope everybody listened to the levy conversation that we had today earlier before. If you haven't, go back and listen to it. I think that's really, really important. We need to pass this levy, and I think we have some really neat ideas. Our staff has been working really hard at it. So I'd encourage all the teachers and everybody to go back and really look at that and follow that conversation, because we're messaging it to the community is going to be important. So please look at that. All right. Busy campaign stuff. A lot of this last few weeks, but I just wanted to just tell one story and then I'll be done. There was a community member who I was able to have a good conversation with a few weeks ago, and her and I maybe don't necessarily see eye to eye, but I want her to know, and hopefully she knows who she is, that I really appreciated that conversation, and I appreciated her being vulnerable, and I think that towards the end of the conversation, she was vulnerable, and it helped me to see her perspective and her feelings a lot more. And I just want her to know that I really appreciated that. And I took a lot away from that, and I want to thank her for that. And with that, I'll yield my time.
Great, thank you. All right, so I just have one thing I'm going to read here. This is from Tyler Marquardt. I would like all of the parents to volunteer in schools. It helps the school and staff, administration, and students in KSD. So Tyler, if you're listening, appreciate the reminder about volunteers in schools. So thank you. All right. With that, we will move on to consent items, and I will take a motion to approve the consent items.
I move to approve the consent items as they've been presented.
Thank you. We'll do the roll call vote, please.
Dr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Gledhill?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
And Mr. Galbraith?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, moving along, we have no unfinished business, so we will jump into new business. Policy 2310, instruction, selection, and adoption of instructional materials. Alyssa will lead us through some of these changes.
All right, so tonight I'm bringing to the board 2310, selection and adoption of instructional materials. And the updates and the revisions I'm recommending help align it with the RCW. And the one I really want to just point out is we needed to align the wording of parent guardians before it said community members. So that's really the only change to it.
Okay.
So other language on this, just so you know, has been vetted by council as far as definitions in the second paragraph. So any word change there in alignment with that reflection.
Okay. Any questions from the board? If there are no questions, I'm just in case Brittany has something. Okay. If there are no questions, I will take a motion to approve the changes to this policy.
I move to approve policy number 2310, selection adoption of instructional materials as presented for first and second.
Perfect. We have a motion. Patty, the vote, please.
Dr. Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Gledhill,
Yes.
and Mr. Valentine,
Yes.
Mr. Galbraith.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. Next up is Resolution 1, 2025-2026, supporting fairness and competition and gender identity in interscholastic athletic activities. And I will take this and since I don't have it on, not having it on the board, I will read it into the record. Resolution 1, 2025-2026, supporting fairness and competition and gender identity in inter-school athletic activities. Whereas RCW 28A.600.200 grants each school district board of directors the authority to control, supervise, and regulate the conduct of inter-school athletic and extracurricular activities and permits delegation of this authority to the Washington Interscholastic Activities Association, WIAA. And whereas the Kennewick School District has delegated authority to WIAA for governance of interscholastic athletics, and whereas the Linden School District has proposed an amendment to Article 18.16.0 of the WIAA Handbook, which establishes a framework for gender identity participation by maintaining an open category for all students while reserving the girls category for students whose biological sex is female, as determined by original birth certificate or medical affidavit. And whereas this amendment aligns with KSD's resolution number 10/2324, which affirms that sex is defined as biological male or biological female as determined at birth, and commits to protecting fairness in girls' sports and student safety. And whereas the proposed amendment promotes WIAA's mission to provide opportunities for all students to excel in athletics, performing arts, or other activities while promoting fair play, sportsmanship, and teamwork, strengthening all students for life through participation in excellence, fair, safe, and accessible activities. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Kennewick School District Board of Directors strongly supports the Linden School District's proposed amendment to Article 10.16.0 of the WIAA's handbook, affirming the creation of an open category for all students and a girls category limited to students whose biological sex is female. And be it further resolved that the board affirms its commitment to preserving fairness in competition, protecting the integrity of girls' sports, and ensuring physical safety in interscholastic athletics. And be it finally resolved that the Kennewick School District encourages other districts to join in supporting this amendment. All right. With that, I will open it up for discussion.
Yeah, I think I've expressed my opinion on this topic several times. From a medical perspective, you know, it's pretty straightforward. Biological sex, you know, the misconception is that if we just hold a couple of hormones, that suddenly that will change someone from being a boy to a girl or a girl to a boy. We as humans are far more than a couple of hormones. Puberty is more than just a couple of hormone changes. It is far more than that. It is far more complex. Simply by withholding hormones for a short period of time, or even for a long period of time, if someone's particularly gone through the changes of puberty, you'll never, for example, a boy going through puberty will never be the same as a girl, even if he holds his, you know, he has hormone blockers down the road that try to block some of the hormones. The structural changes that are built into our DNA are fundamental. And so to say that because someone identifies as something suddenly changes the structure of their DNA is absurd. It makes no sense. It doesn't change their DNA. Their DNA doesn't change because they want it to, or because they wish it to, or because they think it will. Their DNA will always be the same. And our DNA is the structural building blocks of who we become. from a structural perspective. Yes, you can work hard. You can do a lot of things to change some of the characteristics of our bodies. But fundamentally, our DNA determines much of our physical characteristics. Our muscle mass can be somewhat changed, but some of those fundamental characters of muscle mass, size, structure are not changed despite blocking hormones, despite changing some of the chemical makeup. So to me, it becomes a fairly simple medical discussion. And that's my background. That's my expertise as a physician. I can only speak it from a medical perspective. And that is that yeah, the biology is pretty clear. And so I'm very supportive of any effort we can make to protect women's sports, to protect our young women in sports, to make sure that they have a fair playing field. I think by having an open category, this allows everyone to participate. This allows both those who identify as whether they identify as male or female, if biologically they are a male, they'll be able to participate in sports. No one is being excluded. No one is not being included. Everyone is included, but it makes sure that the biological differences between males and females are respected, and women who are biologically women are not put at a disadvantage simply because biologically and genetically they are different. So I'm very supportive of this resolution.
Okay. You want to go next, or Ms. Gledhill?
No, I don't have anything to bring up to discuss.
Okay, thank you. So when you're on a board, what you have to do is you have to try to find solutions that work for everybody, right? And that's tricky because most of the time there isn't a perfect solution that works for everybody because there's just so many different demographics, and it's hard. So you try to find maybe the best solution. And this is actually was my solution for a long time is how do you include a transgender athlete? How do you make sure that athlete feels included? But at the same time, you protect women and women's rights. Women don't really have a choice when something's imposed on them, and there's three issues, right? There's safety, fairness, and exposure. Those are the three issues for me. The physical safety of it is a real thing. I mean, anecdotally, I'll speak anecdotally first. I've experienced. I've played co-ed leagues. I've done, which is a choice by a female. I've done weightlifting. I've done athletics my whole life, and there is definitely quite a difference, right? And so, anecdotally, like my wife, who's in very good shape and is a personal trainer. I mean, I can lift over double every lift that she does just because I'm physically different than her, and that's okay. So there is a safety element. I know girls have been hurt, torn ACLs, torn all kinds of ligaments, concussions from playing with boys, and so there's just a pure safety issue, and especially when a girl does not want that and it's being forced on her. I don't think that's right. So how do you protect that? The hundreds and thousands of women who want to play sports, and how do you also take care of that transgender athlete? So there's the fairness side of it where, the fastest female in Washington State took second in state 2 years in a row. She wanted to take first, but she couldn't because a biological male beat her 2 years in a row. That's not fair. That's not fair for that girl who's worked hard. I also know girls who would have competed in those races who didn't. They just said it's not worth it. Not going to do it. I'm going to do a different race. I'm going to do a different thing because they felt suppressed because they had no chance because they could see the times of this biological male athlete who was kind of untouchable. So there's a fairness, and then there's the exposure, and exposure will be locker rooms, bathrooms in the state of Washington, and this happens in our high schools every day, every single day in our high schools. We've all heard lots and lots of stories of this happening every day in our high school. So there's those three issues. So how do you find an issue that works? How do you find a solution? I think this is the best way. I think that you protect the women, and then you say, let's have an open division, and it doesn't exclude anybody. It doesn't, because a male, if a transgender athlete feels excluded or feels some way about participating in the other category, well, the biological male is also participating in that other category. So it's not a perfect solution, but I think it's the best solution. I think it's a solution that the transgender individual gets a chance to compete, win, and then the female athlete gets protected. So that's what I would say about it, is trying to find, and that's what you have to do on boards. That's what you have to do in these situations, is try to find something, because if you do allow a biological male to participate in female sports, then there's hundreds and hundreds of females. And when that biological male won that track meet, that team went from 5th to 1st, domino affecting hundreds and hundreds of girls. And I don't know that that's fair to them. So with that, I strongly support this, and I will be voting to support this amendment, this resolution.
Thank you. Kind of tough to follow up last with a medical expert, what you said there, Micah. I don't think it would be any shock to anyone that I strongly support this as well. This has been something I've talked about multiple times as it's come up. We did a similar supporting amendment last year that didn't pass the WIAA because Chris Weirachtal and all them kind of took it to the WIAA, but that's neither here nor there. So I'll leave it at that. If there's no more questions, we will go ahead and call for the roll call vote.
Do we make a motion?
Or motion, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
All right. I move to approve resolution number 1, 2025-26, supporting fairness and competition and gender identity in inter-school athletic activities.
Thank you. Patty, we'll go with the roll call vote.
I apologize, Diego. I forgot to ask you, but do you have an advisory vote?
I'll abstain.
Okay. Dr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Gledhill?
Abstain.
Mr. Valentine?
Yes.
Mr. Galbraith?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. The motion passes 3-0 with 1 abstain. So next we'll move into reports and discussions. Community report, Children's Reading Foundation of the Mid-Columbia. Miss Johnson and Miss Purcell.
All right. I always feel like I have to hunch over. This is our community report. One thing that you'll notice is that we do have our mission and vision on the first page. And the second page will have I just want to make sure that you guys have the presentation overview, and we're looking at number 19 and 32 on those strategic objectives. That's what we're going to be accomplishing today. This is a partnership with 2 community members. They're going to be doing the presentation, and I'll just be introducing them. The first one that we have is the Children's Reading Foundation of Mid-Columbia, and Leanne Lewers Purcell will be presenting this.
Feels like we were just here. Hello again.
Welcome back.
Happy fall.
My name's Leanne Lewers Purcell. I'm the Executive Director of the Children's Reading Foundation.
Hi, I'm Erin Lee. I'm the Educational Programs Director for the Foundation.
Just a little reminder about who we are. You can read our vision. Our mission, I wanted to touch on 2 things today. We're talking about Ready for Kindergarten and Team Read, our 2 programs with you. So the piece of our mission that says we encourage and educate parents and caregivers about their important role raising a reader. So we will be, Erin's going to talk in depth about Ready for Kindergarten. And this is the program where we train families on how to be their child's first teacher. The second one that we're going to talk about is Team Read, which matches with our mission to support schools in ensuring that children are reading at grade level by 3rd grade. So as a quick reminder and overhead, Ready for Kindergarten is a program where we send parents home with tools, resources, training, and books. Parents can take 3 workshops. Some are in person, some are online per year, starting at birth. Each time they do a module or they come to a training, they get a different toolkit, and each bag is filled with tools that train them specifically on how to get their child ready for kindergarten so that when the child walks through the doors, they're at grade level already with kindergarten standards. For example, you might get a letter puzzle, and in the modules, you would learn 3 to 5 different ways on how to play with your child using this tool to talk about things like letters, sounds, lines, curves, fine motor, and building language, as an example. The second program that she's going to talk about in detail is Team Read, which is our one-on-one tutoring programs in schools, where teachers select students to meet with a trained volunteer twice a week for 30 minutes, and they are trained on the science of reading, shared reading, and best practices, and helping those struggling readers. So those are our 2 programs, and Erin's going to talk a lot more in depth.
All right, so I'm going to kind of talk about a couple new things that happened this year and some emphasis moving forward for this year. So one of the things about Ready for Kindergarten, to just make everyone aware, but we did e-learning when COVID started. And we have now moved this year, we're implementing a learning management system. So our parents go on a dashboard and they're able to have their e-learning workshops directly from that dashboard. So it's really user-friendly, and it provides me the opportunity to interact in the platform as well, to keep that outreach and interaction going. So again, Leanne mentioned the high-quality tools, materials, and books that families get 3 times a year. We also have dedicated outreach where we ensure parent engagement, and we try to, really get them to complete the workshops, but also this year we were offering Play with Purpose playgroups. So I'm trying to build that community of our parents. What we find especially with young parents, is that they don't have that same community where they're not meeting other parents. They're not communing together about some of these ready targets and getting children ready for kindergarten. Again, we have a lot of collaborative community partnerships where we work extensively with Ready for Kindergarten, and we outreach and we try to get a lot of our families to join Ready. So some of our impact, again, Ready is offered in English and Spanish, and what's really cool about the new learning management system is it has the ability, at least on the dashboard part, to go into other languages as well. So it's not just our materials are English or Spanish, but there is an opportunity for parents to click a button and it'll be in their native language, what they choose. And it's a plethora of different languages. So some of our community collaborators, I do some in-person Ready workshops for B5 with our migrant and refugee families. I also do some in-person workshops with TriTech Early Education Program. And then we do outreach events with WIC, with the Children's Development Center, and with Keewaydin. We also visit Prepares, which is an organization that supports mothers and families. So the new thing that I mentioned to you is the Play with Purpose playgroups. So we have had increasing attendance at these, and I just did one on Monday, and we had 25 families there, so that was huge. And it's a good way that we look at our Ready targets and we provide some activities for them, and parents can see, and we model what to do and how to play with purpose with their children. And the kids get to know each other, and it's multi-age. So it allows a parent to come and all the kids interact. So I have some data points just to kind of touch on. We do this every year. So our goal is 2,500 workshops watched, essentially, or participants in the Ready for Kindergarten program. And we obviously met that with 2,581. Some of the highlights from this is if you look at the language as well as the annual income, What we really try to do is be reflective of the community in which we serve. And then some other highlights, I do an end of year survey with our parents just to kind of get some information about how we've served them with Ready for Kindergarten. And 100%, I've never gotten a no on the question, where would you refer to family or friends? I also ask, do you do the program, right? We can hand out tools and we can say all these things, but do they actually take what we say and play with purpose at least 10 minutes a day, 3 or more times? And that was 84% said that they do. And then one of the questions I asked were the workshops, tools, and materials, did they enhance your understanding and knowledge about kindergarten readiness and how you are your child's first and most influential teacher? So, and then I kind of want to look at what are we focusing on this upcoming year. So one of the things that we've noticed over time is we get a lot coming in at the 3-4 and the 4-5 age range, which is great. But the Ready for Kindergarten program goes 0 to 5. So we're putting a lot of emphasis on outreach efforts to get parents on board early so that they can experience the full program and be even more ready when kindergarten comes. We also are going to try and keep up with the Play with Purpose playgroups, looking at maybe adding some locations as well as times. We do it during the day, so we probably need to offer an evening or an afternoon time. So that's Ready for Kindergarten. Team Read. Team Read's the one-to-one volunteer tutoring program.
Really quick, do you mind if I just ask a couple quick questions? Yeah, sure. Do we have any data, and I don't know if it could come from the school district or from you all, on the readiness? I know our goal is to have them at grade level by kindergarten, when they enter kindergarten.
Right.
Do we have any data on where we're at with that?
So if
From
you
the
look
people
at
that participate in the program?
Yeah. In terms of specific to Ready?
Mhm.
No, I mean, that's a kind of a longitudinal because they can enter Ready for Kindergarten at any time. We would have to kind of follow them throughout the whole program, right? So you have some people entering at 3-4 or 4-5 that don't get the full program,
Don't get the full
right?
program. Yeah.
Are you asking, say, we know that student Leanne did some Ready for Kindergarten, she starts kindergarten, and you're saying, do we have statistics or data that says, was Leanne ready?
Oh, yeah, how
child.
close were we, or how
Right.
much of an impact did the
So
program have?
at that bottom graph, so what I took a look at is the OSPI data.
Okay.
And kind of looked at, when you look at the age range of 3 to 5, right, there's some
Yeah.
variability there. And so what we looked at is all of Kennewick School District, and this also Alyssa would probably have the most up-to-date data on where kindergartners are coming in. But if you look at, those are the percentages of, students entering at a 4 to 5 year, when they do the WAKIDS, right,
Okay.
which is a 6-point kind of assessment.
But I think we would love if the student or the family agreed, and we gave them, you guys, the names, because this is not something that we can't.
There'd have to be a
track the student
collaboration.
once they enter. But if they enter the kindergarten class, and you say, hey, we'd like to follow this child and see where they're at now, that would be phenomenal. That would give us data too, because that's the same thing that we hope.
It's the struggle we have.
Well, exactly. It
Yeah.
kind of closed the loop there, giving you
Absolutely.
feedback.
Right.
Is
Yeah.
that something that maybe we could look into if?
I think
Alyssa and
so.
I will talk, because all we would need is the rosters,
Yeah.
and then we can start looking at impact. Because ultimately, we have the same goal.
Yeah.
Right.
And that is, the better prepared they are walking in the door.
Yeah.
And a lot of those aren't really like ready to learn skills, maybe more so than just specific reading
Yeah.
skills.
Yeah.
So
Right.
those activities fold into that ready to learn.
Because I would imagine you don't have a way to, like a testing system, right? So that's
No,
not, you're
we
not
don't
built that
do
way. So
assessments. Mm-mm.
yeah, so that would be something that we would need to pick up
And
on our
the
side.
other thing too to keep in mind is even if you were to test a child, you have to be mindful that Ready is a parent education and engagement program.
Yeah.
So in a lot of ways, you're measuring parents, right?
Yeah.
And do they do the program? We can hand this out and do whatever. And, is the parent engaging with the program?
But and it looks like from your data there that they do appear to be engaging. That's why
Right.
I think it would just be interesting to see how these kids are doing before and after the first year. The second question I had is looking at the annual income of the parents.
Mhm.
are there any things that maybe we as a district could do or things? I would love to see some of those lower income, I think, are perhaps some of the families that could use this particularly the most.
Right.
Now, I think probably one of the challenges is parents will often be working. Am I assuming correctly? Is that why this is, maybe it's more challenging for the lower income to participate? Or how can we capture those lower income students? Because I think some of those are probably the ones that more than anyone needed to help them be ready to enter.
Right. So as you can see with the data, so I kind of look at above poverty line and below poverty line. So if you look at over 65,000, when you really look at the 65,000, that's not a huge amount of money for a family of four, right? So when we look at providing for, that's where we do the outreach, right? So we go to WIC and we set up a table and we encourage parents. Prepares does the same thing. B5, our community collaborators, we kind of work towards getting that information. We also work with Miramar and TCCH, the health clinics and the nurses, nurse visits, Head Start.
Is there anything that we as a district could be doing? Information we could be sharing? I mean, as collaborative partners, is there feedback loops, for example, that we might, like we're saying, looking at some of the testing and getting the rosters? Are there things we could do that maybe might better capture these lower income families sooner?
Yeah, I think, and like Aaron said, well, I think you said this, once they're in, they're in.
Yeah.
Once a family gets a taste of what it is, I think sometimes the name is misleading, and until you see this bag of amazing tools you get, why am I going to sign up to take another module, right? So getting it in front of them and showing them the value of it is really important. And once that happens, Christina's nodding. Yeah, then they're in. And so we're at schools, we're at open houses, but again, like Aaron said, we try so hard to be at the stages before the kindergarten. That's the whole point.
We also, every year I get with Child Care Aware, and I get a listing of all the preschool and child care providers, and they get ready information. We drive flyers and we talk to all of those providers as well as in-home providers. So yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I don't know where to close the gap, and maybe that's further discussion. I feel like we're out in the community a lot. We're at a lot of events, not just for Ready for Kindergarten, but for the Children's Reading Foundation. So it's a great opportunity to talk about Ready, even at all of our events that were all over the place. So I feel like we have a good cross-section of working with our collaborators to try and get those populations. But yeah,
I mean, I'm just thinking, I don't even know if this is a possibility, but a lot of these families have more than one kid. Is there something we could do to reach out to looking at the kindergartners, so the kids coming in? Is there a way we could reach out to the family or help coordinate you reaching out to specific families as those kindergartners come in to see if they have any other kids? Just again, we know the data on if kids are not at grade level by reading at grade 3, they struggle. And if they're coming in at kindergarten behind, we're already behind. So if we can capture those kids and that bottom half of that graph, that graph there is the kids that are extremely high risk for being behind grade level. So if we can find ways to better collaborate, maybe talk to the kindergartners, see if we could talk to the kindergarten teachers and looking at families, saying, hey, we can reach out to the families and tell them more about what we have to offer to get them ready.
Sure. With our kindergarten teachers, I mean, and I don't know if any are here, thank you. I do a direct referral for our kindergarten teachers where they can talk to a parent and they fill out a form and then they send to me. And then I outreach to families.
Perfect. So some of that's already going on.
Yes.
Awesome.
And we're very present at any, Kennewick school that says, come to my open house, come to my literacy night, come to our STEM night, come to our kindergarten roundup, because they already have a kindergartner, but we know that there's potential for younger siblings. So we're there trying to capture those as well.
So a lot of stuff you're already doing.
I'm open to ideas.
Yeah,
we can.
We'd love to look at that further. Yeah.
Yeah, if we, think through it. If we get any ideas, throw them to Lance, and then you coordinate with, throw them to you and see if they work. Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so Team Read is a one-to-one volunteer tutoring program for K through third graders. We're in 10 elementary schools in Kennewick. Each elementary school has a dedicated site coordinator, and they provide oversight for our volunteers. And they also provide training for our volunteers on the day-to-day basis. So as you know, one of the things that I've personally worked really hard at over the last few years with the changes that KSD has had with curriculum and literacy education, I've tried to align Team Read to be complementary. So that's one thing that over the last several years, we've really worked hard to make sure that the materials that we have, that our volunteers use in Team Read, is in alignment with what you all are doing in school. We've also improved some of our materials for our student pouches. Each student gets their own pouch. They get a lot of incentives. Stickers, as you can see, is a hot currency for Team Read. And so each student gets a part of Team Read, and they get to take this home. So at the end of the year, so we know that in the summertime they can pull it out. And my hope is that they're doing some of this at home as well during the summer. So we also have, one of the emphasis from this year is just volunteer training. Make sure that our volunteers feel supported, make sure they feel like they have the tools they need in order to work with their student effectively. And then another exciting thing, and this is in line with your CTE program, is we started a TriTech internship program with the early childhood education program over at TriTech. And last year we had 14 interns that interned with Team Read 2 days a week. And then come January, if they're responsible, committed, they will then go to a classroom situation on the opposing days. So they commit to a full year of Team Read and they are trained. And this year I have 28 interns for Team Read. So that's exciting. And a lot of our interns are bilingual, which is helpful for our schools that need that. So again, these are just highlighting that program and the teens and the impact that they have with us. And then the data points, as you can see, kind of the distribution of the students that we see. We had a goal of 370. We saw 453 students. We had 75 graduates. That means during the year, their teacher and the volunteer felt like that they had reached grade level proficiency and could move out of the program. And then we put other kids in that place. I do a survey of admin, volunteer, and teacher. And that's just some of the results. All of our teachers want us back in the, working with their students. And all of the principals, all 10 principals, indicated they want Team Read in their school. So this year our focus is increased participation in some of our schools, making sure we have enough volunteers at all 10 schools. Really work towards the site coordinator position and make sure that we train and we retain our site coordinators. And then just kind of looking at the communication between the teachers and making sure you all have a new curriculum, make sure that we're in alignment and that we are being supportive of the teachers' efforts. And then we kind of do somewhat of an analysis of where they begin with the STAR score and where they end and what kind of growth we see utilizing the Team Read program.
Do we want to pause for Team Read questions?
I do have one.
Yes.
So like a few slides ago, you don't go back, but you showed the 10 schools that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is maybe a question for Alyssa and Lance more than anything, but do we have any statistics or data that show that the schools that Team Read's in, those kids are progressing faster?
I haven't touched it. You've shared it before. Yeah, so the bottom graph, I look at beginning scores and end of scores, and I kind of look at our Team Read kiddos. And, as you can see, the purple and green, most are making substantial or exceptional growth utilizing Team Read.
But I guess what I'm asking is compared to schools that do not have Team Read.
So comparing the other 7.
Yes. Yeah. That'd be really interesting to see as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we could look at that. This other 7 schools, you'll see a little bit different demographic.
Yeah. One of the questions I had is, are we looking at what are the practices that are, for example, you have roughly a third of the kids are seeing exceptional growth.
Mhm.
What are we doing with those? Is that just, hey, a third of the kids really buy into this, or are we doing anything different that are helping those kids be particularly exceptional? Have they identified something that makes them more successful in doing the team read than the other, 65%?
I think it depends on, a lot of it depends on teacher referral, making sure that the teacher is picking a child to be in the team read program that can gain the most from the program. So the way it's set up is we have 2 times a week that a volunteer comes in for a half hour. So, when we look at this, we kind of have to look at it, we're a spoke to a wheel, right? So some of the growth, it has to be hands down given to the teacher.
Oh, of course.
Right?
Yeah.
We just kind of enhance their efforts. So, in terms of what makes exceptional growth, a lot of it depends on a volunteer. We have retired reading specialists that volunteer for us.
Yeah.
And retired teachers and retired librarians. And they have more in their toolbox sometimes than some of our other volunteers that are committed. They have a drive to learn. They want to help students, but they might not, they need to be trained more to do that. So I don't know if that impacts that so much, but oftentimes we look for bubble students that are 6 months here or there. It's now increased to about 9 months, but it's about getting that right fit. If we have a student that's slightly below, let's say 6 months below, and we have a team read, and the goal is to support them and get them out of the program fairly quickly. And that's who those exceptional are.
Perfect.
So it's really like working with the teachers to pick the kids that, just need that extra push and can go. And a lot of them really do soar with that extra support.
Perfect. Thank you. No, that I was going to ask another question, but you answered that question. Perfect. Thank you very much. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you.
Very quickly, in addition to those 2 programs, we have lots of other programs that we run, Benton and Franklin counties, but this slide just specifically highlights where we are in Kennewick, the number of books we've given out and connections we've made in Kennewick alone, which obviously are our KSD families. So you can see some of the partnerships I mentioned before about trying to be at the elementary schools too as much as possible. And then there's just some pictures of the cuties. First teacher libraries. If there's any first year teachers in Kennewick School District, they can have a free 75 book library from us. Hopefully everybody knows that. So that's it.
I did have one other question. Sorry, I'm full of questions today. If people want to help, they can't invest time, but they wanted to help invest money.
Yeah.
Where can they go to easily donate to you guys?
Our website,
okay,
www.read20minutes.com. There's my email. That's my.
So on the website, is there an easy place they can just hit donate now?
Yep.
And so community members that maybe find that this is a passion for them as well, they feel like, hey, this is amazing work that's going on, they can donate
Yep,
directly.
there's a donate now button.
Perfect, thank you.
And just to highlight, Team Read will always take books. So
Team Read will always take books.
books.
Where can they, where can?
To our office, we're at Canyon View.
Okay,
So
so
if they contact me directly or our office directly, we'll gladly take books.
So someone could drop books off directly. They just go to Canyon View, come to the front desk
I
and
would
say.
call us first.
Call
and
first?
Make sure someone's in.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I would just say thank you. 4 years now, 4 years, great program. So thank you guys so much. I will just put the plug in there from the previous slide. Reading together 20 minutes a day, folks. It is important. Parents, please make sure you're reading with your children. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. All right, next up.
Wait,
oh.
sorry, we have another community.
Yeah. Brittany?
Okay.
I just wanted to say real quickly, one of the first groups that I met with as the new superintendent was this group right here for 2 reasons. One, the reading, the access skills that are developed with our students are essential and reach all of our content area. And I wanted to ensure 2 things. One, but they had a lens of the curriculum that we were using and the science of reading. That was essential. And I wanted to remind them that typically with volunteers in reading, they work on the disposition of readers more so than the skill of readers. In other words, when students are pulled out to do extra stuff, they got to have a particular talent and skill that allows them to create the love of reading. And our teachers really attack the skill and the science of reading. So that partnership was very evident, and they were very open to that. And that was something that we talked about. I just wanted to make sure that that wasn't overlooked, because we have to be in alignment with our students, especially our struggling students, when it comes to their learning.
Great. Awesome. And next is our community report for YMCA, Melissa and Steve Howland.
So this is Executive Director Steve Howland. And one thing I do want to say is moving to Kennewick, there's so many amazing community members, and we only got to choose 2, but they're both fabulous.
I think it's a pleasure to be here. I've been in this community for 23 years in the Kennewick School District. And the why here is not your typical YMCA. People come in and go, where's the building? Well, we don't have a building. One of the things I love about our YMCA is we are 100% kid focused. Everything we do is about the kids. The partnership that we've had with the Kennewick School District dates back to the 90s when we started piloting childcare and realizing that not only do the kids need a safe place, but parents need to be able to go to work and know their kids are safe. So our programs are held at the following schools. The partnership with the district has been amazing. When COVID hit, we reached out to the school district and said, hey, what's going to happen for the people that are essential workers? KSD jumped in and said, you got space, what do you need? And we worked over those years to continue to change and modify what we were doing to meet the needs of what the school district had and what parents had. And that partnership was amazing. We had to close a number of sites down. Childcare numbers dropped, and we've been rebuilding those. This year, we reopened at Amistad Elementary. And when I met with Julio, he wanted to know, why are you here? And he was concerned that we were coming in just looking for numbers. And it's like, no, we've been out because 21st Century Brands. It's gone. We want to make sure these kids are getting serviced. The district also provides great transportation options. So we have kids at Eastgate and Washington, kids that are at Edison and Vista that we're able to bus from those schools to another childcare location. So we haven't had to fully reopen those sites. So financially, it's helped us, but it's also made sure those kids still have those options and the parents have that option as well. We are a fully state licensed program, meaning we have not only our own quality standards, we have to meet the state's DCOAF's quality standards. This also gives the ability to provide funding resources through the state to help those families. So right now, we have 226 kids as of 2 weeks ago that were receiving state assistance. We have about another 50 that we assist that don't necessarily fit the state guidelines. And this can be a middle-class family that is really struggling to make ends meet, and they need to know that their kid has a safe place to go. We also get calls at times from a school principal that may say, got a homeless child, I need him taken care of. And we jump into action and say, great, we'll work through their end. Don't worry about the money. Let's give this kid a safe place to go. We also achieve what we call our Presidium accreditation. Child abuse prevention is one of our top goals to make sure that never happens on my watch. So our whole association went through this and have been accredited. We've got a great staff team. A number of our staff work for the school district. They may be paraeducators that come into work childcare in the AM or PM. We help with the homework help and the reading. The 20 minutes a day is reflected in our programs. We give the kids the time to try to get that reading done. And parents appreciate it because when they get home, they've got other things they're focusing on. If they go, I know they read their 20 minutes a day, that's one less thing that they have to work on. We still encourage them to read with them because that parental-child relationship matters. We are reliable. We are here just about every single day. We take federal holidays off, but as Lance knows, we're here in the summer. We're here over Christmas break. We're here over spring break, and we are here on every other day when there's an early release or a no school day. The YMCA has a place for these kids to go so the parents know they're in that safe place. We run these at the child's school in most cases, meaning it's the same friends that get to know each other here as well as outside of that. We obviously do our camps and other activities to make sure the kids have a safe place. Some of the key things, if you look at some of our numbers, you look at Sunset View at the very bottom. We've got over 60 kids that are attending at Sunset View. Some of those kids are at Vista. Amistad is 14 for a site that just opened and was finally licensed a couple weeks ago. I'm thrilled with 14. Some people go, well, that's not very many, but that's 14 kids that have a safe place to go every day. We'll see that number grow. One of the things we received some funding from Steve Ballmer to make sure that we can provide this program, that there's not a factor of financial. We can last this out for several years to make sure that we're there and we're there again, we're there again. It will also be one of our winter break camp locations. So introducing the people in the neighborhood that will have a program there. You can kind of see what those numbers, Squares is our other big site that we see. We try to serve all schools in the area, making sure that the kids have a place to go afterwards. You can see how many kids, childcare is obviously the largest with almost 600 kids. Day camp at 433. Currently we're at 467. This number will grow up a bit throughout the year and it falls down throughout the year. So there's ebb and a flow. We also partner with the school district providing youth sports. So we do non-competitive youth sports. We do basically all the major sports, and the KSD has been a wonderful part of this. The kids know that they can play nearby. We keep our fees affordable, not only the child care, but also the youth sports programs. Because the Kennewick School District is such a partner, we're able to keep those fees really low. But it gets kids out. It is that first opportunity for a lot of kids to participate in sports and find out what they like and don't like. And that's one of the most important things for a lot of kids is they may never played soccer. They want to try it. But if you're an older 9-year-old, you may feel like all your friends are already playing in advance. How comfortable are you? So we see a lot of kids that come into the program that may need some extra help there. We also have a lot of kids that come with some special needs, and we work with those needs to make sure they're able to participate. You also see that the top slide is actually our competitive league that we run over East Pasco. We have kids that come into our other program, give it a try, and then move on over with that. But the competitive program has grown, and this is something that Julio and I are talking about at Amistad. How can we use this program that we've got and build up the kids to help with better attendance in the school? That's his number one goal, and I think we've had some great ideas to work together. We also do a number of different programs. We do our trick and treat on the trail this week. We've got soccer. We also have a preschool. So as Luann's talking about things, we've worked with them over the years because we've got kids that come in. They need to be able to be brought up to grade standard as well. And it's working with those kids and those families, just like they do with what they're doing in that full day environment for the kids. So that's a bit about what our why does. I want to be able to answer if you guys have any questions, thoughts, or anything.
I just have one. I noticed we're missing Westgate. Is there what kids at Westgate do? Is there something different there?
We're not at Westgate right now. There are programs in the immediate area that have been serving that need.
Okay.
So we we backed out of there several years ago for that reason. We felt it was oversaturated and there was stuff that was close by.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Good question.
Anything else?
Great.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, next up is our superintendent report, Mr. Hanson.
Okay, I'll be brief. A couple things that I want to make sure that the board was aware of. We've looked at graduation times. I was able to go to graduation last year, and we're going to increase the gap between the two, mainly because we want to make sure that the experience is there for the kids and the families. And there was just a little bit of congestion. We believe allowing that time gap, so the times will be 9, 1, and 5. I know there's an interest of the board to look at maybe the order. That's something we'll look at in the upcoming year in the spring. So just FYI on that. I want to make sure that the board is aware, and you'll get more information in this more in a written form, and I actually have homework for you when we do this. One of the things, strategies that I've used historically to engage the community is to develop work groups. Work groups tackle an issue. They bring an eclectic group of individuals from the community, staff, students, etc., and then they work on this particular issue and then bring it back to the board. One of the things that we are going to tackle is safety. I think it's important that based on most recent events that we've had, that our community provides input, our staff provides input, our students are providing input to make sure that we will not leave any stone unturned. I knew I was going to say it correctly. When it comes to safety, and we'll have that conversation is ongoing and continuous. So what I need from the board is if you'll just email me. So I have parents, and we're putting the parent selection. I'll have principals do that, and we're putting them in our feeder program. So we'll have groups that will feed into Kennewick. So as they matriculate through, they'll go to Kennewick High School, Southridge High School, and Kamiakin. That would be one lens. So elementary, middle, high. I'm looking for community members, and this is where I'm asking the board's participation. So they could be parents, but I'm looking for maybe community members who may have a perspective of expectations that they would have of our schools, either if they have maybe grandkids that are coming or they're recruiting prospective employees to the area. How would they view our schools when it comes to safety and input that they would have? And if you'll each give me a couple of names, when we will select from those names, because sometimes when I reach out to community members, they may not be able to fulfill the commitment or they don't want to do it or can't. So if I get 2 from each of you, that gives me enough to create that group. I can tell you I have 2 members of the community already committed, just FYI. Two suggestions. Just email me, hey, the following 2 people, and if you would contact them, say, I'm looking for community members who may not have students, for example, who would be willing to give us input on safety. Yes.
Now, what is the time commitment and what is the kind of length and time commitment?
So the goal right now, and Melissa and Dr. Hilbert are Tom, real hard, thank you, I was kidding. Tom, are going to be leading this. So the goal would be to get a recommendation to the board of directors no later than the 1st of January. Because we're kind of running out of time at the end of the year. This means that I would say there's going to be a minimum of 4 meetings. And those meetings are going to last probably about an hour and a half, and we'll stay tight on that. It'll be evening meetings such as this one that they'll be able to be involved with that. Again, we've got a cross group, and the more that we're including, like, for example, we'll have police department representatives, for example, again, students, for example, staff members, for example, and parents. I have 2 members right now that I want to make sure that I've asked Brian from Boys and Girls Club to be on this, as well as Tammy. Tammy approached me after our Kamaikan community group. She is a survivor of the Columbine shooting, and she lives in our community. And I think she's going to have some excellent perspective on what that was like for her as a 16-year-old sophomore in high school, and what that can look like for our kids, both from now as an adult, looking back to that particular time. So those are 2, and we'll add, based on your all's recommendation, more to that group.
And you're looking for community members who do not have students.
Yeah, because we'll select parents via the principals. That way you guys get an opportunity to engage community members of who don't maybe have kids, but still invest in our community. So the way I look at it is, if each of you have like an employee component, like if we're recruiting doctors here, what do we want to say about our schools? If we're recruiting, people who are small business or from each of your areas, and that kind of forces you out of your wheelhouse a little bit too.
No, that's fine.
So if you would give me 2, and if you would talk to them, I will be reaching out to them and inviting them to this. I probably won't be able to get them all on, but at least I'll have a pool to draw from. All right. So again, the objective of this group would be recommendations back to the board. We already talked about the levy and the changes that we're going to look at as far as how we view the dollars coming in relative to the safety needs that we have currently in the Kennewick School District. We're looking at 3 areas. We're looking at prevention, like what educational programs, things that we can do to prevent things, counseling services, for example, mental health, etc. Secondly, would be physical types of securities, perimeters, strengthening the actual structures, etc., layouts, those types of things. And then third would be our staffing. So those are kind of 3 buckets that we'll be looking at. That way it allows you as the board to really understand how that impacts. And as we're budgeting these dollars that I know that our community will be willing to support us in February, that we have a lens for that, and then we're meeting the needs of our community. So I'm excited about this. It's a work group, so it's finals. Like they come in, they do their work, and they're done. Committee's kind of ongoing, and so it's a little bit different strategy. Previous district, I've had over 150 community members annually who participate in these types of things. The government shutdown, I just want you to know, we sent out a letter to our families, specifically families who may have children with disabilities, to let them know at this time that is not impacted, that money is still available, and we're continuing to provide services for our children. Having said that, we're not discounting the idea that potentially in the future there could be an impact by the federal government's choice on how they're going to approach supporting our children with disabilities. So more to come on that. We had a parent meeting with our Grow Up Films, and how many people I know Alyssa sent me this, but we had about 50 parents. The reason that I want to make sure that you know this is I want this board to know that our parents are our partners, and we strive hard to bring them in and make them part of the learning of their children. So our Grow Up films in grade 5, they're also posted online. So if you'd like to look at those, we had families who came in and had the opportunity to look at those. I think it gives them a better information to have conversations about their children as they're going through puberty. So that would be that piece. A couple other ones, we had a community job fair, and Dr. Brillhart, will you just talk about that a little quickly, like how many people we have? And this is also one of our commitments in his department, that's recruiting and retaining highly qualified folks.
Yeah, so our substitute job fair took place yesterday in this room. So if I just had to estimate, we probably had between 50 and maybe 70 individuals that walked through the door. So we had a table set up for every single one of our departments, whether it be transportation, food service, obviously substitute teacher, traditional substitute teachers, substitute classified personnel, maintenance and operations. So yeah, I mean, everyone walked in, had a different expectation, need, story, if you will, but they all obviously were hungry to work for the KSD, and obviously they're good people and good workers were welcoming. So it was a good event. So I was proud of our HR department. They did a great job.
So the one thing that we know, the best interviews that we have typically come from our substitutes, and also like our young lady who was an intern. So as we're providing opportunities for them to get dip their toe in the water, and then we get the opportunity to also train. It's almost a training component for us as well. I'm going to have Eric talk. I didn't tell him, he sent it to me, but I just want him to talk just real briefly. This is in his area of expertise, and that's ensuring safety when it comes to our data and our network. And I want him to talk to you a little bit about the penetration test and what we're doing there.
Sure. So one of our goals, is this muted? Yep, I think it is. One of our goals is to ensure the safety of our network and our data. And one of those things is doing continued penetration tests. So that is internal, external. What that means is we hire a third-party company to come inside our network, see what they can get access to, and help us tell us what we should shore up and fix it. Same from the outside. So that happens annually. So we engage with, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name of Technagon, one of their subsidies, and that'll be running in November next month. And we also engage with a new SOC, or a network operations center, to watch our stuff with Arctic Wolf. So we're excited to move to a new provider to help us have our back 24/7, even in the middle of the night. Like, I might get a call if something's going wrong. Always moving that graph of security forward.
And thank you. And Eric, I appreciate all the work he does. Data security and data breaches, as you've seen across the nation, are becoming more and more prevalent. I have colleagues in other school districts who are actually paying ransoms, or their data is being held ransom. So this it's great practice for you to use third party, so you're not using your internal. It's just like auditing. You're using external controls to ensure that our network is safe for our data, our students' data, our staff's data. So, and then lastly, I'm pretty proud of this. One of the things that I have accomplished, other than many meetings that I've had in the community, that's different, is we have state board certification that I have fulfilled. We have fulfilled the basic education requirements of the state of Washington. So I'm excited about that. It is a very, very lengthy and exhaustive. It's very comprehensive to ensure that we're fulfilling all the obligations that are provided us to the state. It's about 112. I had to have multiple people in, but I saved all the answers. So next year I'll have them down pat and we're ready to go. But we have the certifications. That'll go in my file, in my eval file. Is that perfect? Okay.
All right. Great. Thank you. All right. So let's see. Next up, our next meeting agenda. Okay. All right. Study session K through 5 ELA instructional material implementation update. And then our business meeting, we have our levy resolution and appointing pro-con committee. Next up, we will move into executive session, approximately 30 minutes. So 7:45-ish, 7:50. And then after that, we will come back out here as we have other businesses authorized by law. The school board will appoint a nominee to select a hearing officer per RCW 28A.405.310, and that will conclude our meeting after that. So we will move into executive session.